Mexicans to want to protect their culture, for Asians to want to protect their culture, for all these different races and religions to want to protect their culture. But as soon as white people want to protect their culture, they're racist. Why is that?
What culture do you guys have? I said this in some of my other videos. I was like, what is white culture? I talked about how there's like a whole history of like white people who were not white, before, like, Irish whites, Italian whites, Jewish whites, and then they became white, which gave them like, benefits, obviously, having to be able to be in white spaces. But in knowing that, I genuinely don't understand why a lot of white Americans have this sentiment, like we're taking away certain things. I'm like, you're still the majority of this country. What is being taken away? Like, we have mixed kids. If you're the majority in this country and we're a minority, you may think, okay, well, if we have a lot of mixed children, then somehow that's going to make everybody, mixed. But they're still going to be part white. And who's to say how many of those mixed kids are going to date or marry other mixed people or black people or other ethnic people, right? How many of their offspring is going to actually be, ethnic? They can easily go back to being white. It's happened before. So I understood why you guys were just so worried about your culture being taken. And again, what is your culture? Polish, the Greek, the whatever the fuck, right? What is your culture? This is when I said the privilege has become the burden, right? Because there's a lot of white people who have the privilege of being able to be white and to not have the burden of being the inferior race. But at the same time, in that privilege, a privilege that they never really should have had to begin with, a privilege that they never really should have participated in to begin with, because they knew how silly and idiotic it was. But they did. Your ancestors did. You may have not done it. You may not participate in it, but your ancestors did. And some white people ended up being poor. Some white people ended up being trailer trash. Some white people ended up being middle class. Some white people ended up being rich. Regardless of any of that, they don't have a culture. They didn't keep up with the culture. They kept up with domination. Now, they did that, right? They kept up with domination, the belief that just because I am without melanin, I am somehow superior over everybody else, right? And those who just end up being homeless on the street, fuck them. That has nothing to do with me. I'm going to worry about mine. You should have worried about yours. You should have been part of the excellent white race. That was their whole thing, right? That's the whole thing I see within the dynamics of the white community. But it's crazy to me because the people in the comments are asking, what culture? What culture? What culture? It's just no responses. What culture? We have the patriotic symbols of the red, white, and blue, the NASCAR driving, the misogyny, out in the country,